los terroristas.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to lesson 2.2, the remainder theorem. So what we're going to do today is we'll start off by doing some synthetic division, and then we are going to sub in our test roots, and we're going to make connections between those two things. So we'll start off with this dividend here, x squared plus 5x plus 7, and we're going to do remainder theorem. So we will write out the coefficients of the dividend, 1, 5, and 7, and we're going to use the test root positive 2. Drop down the first term and multiply 2 times 1, and then we add them up. Then 2 times 7 gives us 14, and we add them up, gives us 21. So we know that when we divide x squared plus 5x plus 7 by x minus 2, we get a remainder of 21, and then our coefficient, remember this is the constant, this is our x term, so our quotient is x plus 7. So if we were to write this out, we know it's dividend equals our divisor times our quotient, and then plus our remainder of 21. So let's scroll down just for a second, and let's take that test root of 2, and instead of doing the synthetic division, let's sub it in. So here's our function again, or here's our dividend. If we sub in 2 for all of our x's, well, we get 2 squared plus 5 times 2 plus 7, and when we work that out, we end up with an answer of 21. So let's try again. Working with question B, we want to divide x squared minus 4x minus 1 by x plus 3. So we'll put a negative 3 on the outside, drop down the first term, negative 3 times 1, add them up, negative 3 times negative 7, and add them up. So remainder of 20 and a quotient of x minus 7. And again, if we were to write this out, we would end up with our dividend equaling our divisor times our quotient plus the remainder of 20. Now, we'll try it again, but this time we are going to sub in our test root. Instead of doing the synthetic division, we sub it in. So sub in negative 3 for x, and we get 9 plus 12 minus 1, which gives us 20. One last time, but I'm sure you see the pattern already. Let's take our dividend, x cubed minus 4x squared plus 5x. I guess we don't need the plus sign there. And plus 4. And we'll divide by x minus 1. So a positive 1 goes on the outside. Drop down the first term, multiply, and add negative 4 plus 1. Multiply, and add them up. Multiply, and add them up. So the answer to this is our dividend equals our divisor times our quotient, which is x squared minus 3x plus 2 plus 6. Okay, so let's sub in our test root, which was positive 1. So we end up with 1 cubed minus 4 times 1 squared plus 5 times 1 plus 4. So 1 minus 4 plus 5 plus 4 gives us, gives us 6. All right, so what kind of connections have you made between the remainders after we did synthetic division and the values of f of x when we sub in that test root? Well, you should have noticed that they're the same thing. And what this is called is the remainder theorem. So when our dividend, f of x, is divided by our divisor, x minus p, where p is the root, then the remainder is whatever we get when we sub in p into our f of x. Okay, so again, that's the remainder theorem, and it's really great when the question is only asking you for the remainder because you don't actually have to go forth and do the division. You just sub in your test root. So here's a quick algebraic proof. Dividend equals divisor times our quotient, which is some function of x, and then plus r. So if we subbed in our test root, p, for our x values, well, we would have p minus p times our quotient evaluated at p, and then plus our remainder. Well, what happens here is, well, p, take away p ends up being 0, times our quotient, and anything times 0 is just 0, and then all we're left with is our remainder. So just a quick proof there. So in this case, the question's asking you only for the remainder, not the quotient, not for a full division, just the remainder. So all we need to do is evaluate our function, which is our dividend, at our test root, which is -2. So we'll go ahead and do that. -2 cubed plus 4 times -2 squared minus 3 times -2 minus 5. So working that out, we end up with -8. Remember your BEDMAS rules. So -2 squared is 4 times 4 plus 6 minus 5. And we should end up with 9. So to answer the question, the remainder, when we divide x cubed plus 4x squared minus 3x minus 5 by x plus 2 is just 9. And one more simple example. When our dividend, x squared plus kx minus 17, is divided by x minus 2, the remainder is 3. So our job is to find k. We know that if we were to sub in, let's call that our f of x, if we were to sub in our test root of +2 into our dividend, our answer would be 3. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's sub in 2. So 2 squared plus k times 2 minus 17. Well, that gives us 4 plus 2k minus 17 equals 3. So this just becomes a very simple isolate k and solve. So we'll move everything but k to the other side. So 3 minus 4 plus 17. 2k is 16, and that gives us k equals 8. So our function, or the dividend, was x squared plus 8x minus 17. And that's it for today's lesson. Nice and short. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, please see me in class. Take care, guys.